everyone. Welcome back to Premier Study Investing. Great to have you. So we're looking again at Altimmune. It's going to be a little while, end of March, before they put out their Q4 earnings. So wanted to do a little update just because I've lost a little bit of touch with this company. Try to zoom in on this. You can barely see it, but there's a line right here, which is the 200-day moving average. You can see it here creeping across the bottom in this light color. So we have the 50-day moving average above it, and then the 20-day moving average above that. So those are all strong signs if, depending on how much weight you put in. But it is one thing that we should consider when looking at a company. Try to put as many pieces together, connect as many dots as possible. I'll zoom out here. Still one thing to remember, it's not profitable at this point. They did get some BARDA money for an anthrax product they're working on. They did get some money from the DoD to run 2 trials, phase 1 and phase 2, for a Rona therapeutic. And they also had some interesting news. We'll go through some of the headlines real quick here. One thing that's always interesting to look at a couple different websites because they do not always all give us the same information. For example, on FinViz, we have February, December, November, and last September. I'll give you those top 4 price targets of 36, 25, a drop down to 28 and 31. Now, if we go all the way back to June, we have Piper Sandler with a price target of 80. Real quick, just gathering a couple more things. You can see Altimmune here, ticker ALT. Reuters has a price target of $40.50. I kind of like how they put that 50 cents in there. As well as CFRA has a buy signal, but not a lot of other things coming from these other folks. Now, if we go over to Investors Observer, which I've been saying their name wrong, I've been dropping the S, I don't know why, Investors Observer, they give it 77 out of 100, so they like this company to a large degree, I guess. We have a price target of 24, another price target, this is the mean, of 48, and I'm guessing that Piper Sandler target of 80 is really pulling the mean up. So I don't know how much stock I still put in these price targets, especially since they're, at least 6 months old. But we are up, trading 22.93 over the weekend. PEG ratio, high beta, a lot of this other stuff we just saw. So I'm going to run through some of these highlights with you, just real quick. This is from October 13th, so going back a little ways. But Altimmune's vaccine shows positive results. This was basically conducted on 2 strains of mice, demonstrated that its AdCOVID elicited multifaceted immune activity, including serum neutralizing immunity, T-cell immunity, and mucosal immunity. As we saw in their last quarter call, they really like to highlight the fact that they have not one type of immunity, but 3 types of immunity, and especially they always highlight the mucosal immunity and some of the things about that. Yes. We'll see more. They're working with University of Alabama in Birmingham on their vaccine. They call it the AdCOVID. And also the new one I didn't know about, St. Louis University as well, is helping them out. So good. What else? They did a partnership with a company called Lonza. And they said basically their preferred global partner of pharmaceutical, biotech, and specialty ingredient markets. They work to prevent illness. They're founded in 1897 in the Swiss Alps. Lonza today operates in 120 sites and offices in more than 35 countries with approximately 15,500 full-time employees. And so not a small company by any means. The company generated sales of Swiss francs 5.9 billion in 2019 with a core EBITDA of Swiss francs 1.6 billion. So not a small company. They've been around for a while. Seems like a good pickup. What else? Altimmune announces submission of the IND application for their vaccine, single-dose intranasal vaccine, on track to commence phase 1 study in December. That is good, but then there is some bad news. They had a little delay on that. We'll get to that in a second. Altimmune commences dosing in phase 1 of clinical trial ALT-801 for their long-acting GLP-1 glucagon receptor dual, I think they misspelled this, antagonist. Agonist is what it says, dual agonist for the treatment of NASH. Anyway, NASH is, we'll see down here, treatment for non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. So, NASH. A lot easier to say NASH. And they expect that it affects more than 13 million adults in the United States. Moving forward, we have something from Insider Monkey that makes its way onto Yahoo Finance. Basically, the bottom here, this is number of hedge funds with positions in Altimmune. And simply the bottom here is at 2. The top here is at 18 hedge funds. The bottom was at Q2. 2021, yes. No, Q1, sorry, 2021. So big jump, ninefold increase there with the hedge funds. And I want to go back real quick. Let's see what the short float or the short ratio is on this. Short float, 8.44%. And short ratio, 1.35%. Here we had a little bit of bad news. It was from December 23rd. It basically said the company announced that the Food and Drug Administration had placed a clinical hold on the company's investigation on the new drug. And so that was kind of a bummer, but, they said we appreciate the FDA support. They're going to just keep rolling. So the other thing that came out, Altimmune begins multinational phase 2 clinical trial of Hep T cell, novel immunotherapeutic for the treatment of chronic Hep B. The channel will also cover a company that's exclusively, focused on hepatitis B, which they're called Artibus. They are really interesting. One, because they're very small cap, and two, they have basically potential royalties that they think they could sue for because of their proprietary intellectual property that is being used by both Moderna and by Pfizer in their RNA production of their vaccines. And so a lot of people thought that's interesting. That video is done well, and I should probably circle back and see what's going on in the meantime with them. But if you're interested in hepatitis B and investing in that, here we have just a little bit of information. Institutions hold about, of those that hold Altimmune, about 36% are institutions. General public is 34%. VC and private equity firms about 12%. Hedge funds 11%. Private companies about 4.6%. Individual insiders about 1.3%. What else we have here? Altimmune announces that the FDA does give them clearance for the AdCovid IND application. That came out, February 17th. So Altimmune said Wednesday the Food and Drug Administration had okayed the company's investigational new drug application for its experimental single-dose intranasal vaccine. It expects to be enrolling the trial's 180 participants who will be between the ages of 18 and 55 years old within the week. And basically the company's stock has soared in the past 12 months, up over 1,200%. Corporate presentation. And I only want to jump over here really quick because we didn't get any information on this. The T-COVID, this is their, therapy, intranasal therapy. Phase 1 and Phase 2 trial was funded by the Department of Defense. And I want to just go over here real quick and get some updates on that because, like I said, we didn't hear much about it. I'll leave you the link for this, but this is AdCovid. I guess it's important to know they're expecting Phase 2 initiation of the AdCovid vaccine expected Q2 2021, so probably that's going to be a little bit delayed because of that news we just saw. Nasal Shield, this is for anthrax. This is where they got the money from BARDA, $3.7 million. But this is the one I'm really interested in, the T-COVID, the therapy. And they have some interesting information. They call it near immediate protection from challenge with influenza. Okay. Here's what we know. 96 community-based patients with fever, cough, or shortness of breath with onset of symptoms and confirmed diagnosis. They did a randomized 1-to-1 trial. Primary endpoints, secondary endpoints. We're looking for Phase 1 data readout expected Q1 2021. So that I'm really interested in. Of course, the stuff with NASH and some other things. One of the things I'll just say is I've read some quite scary stuff about RNA, and I don't know what to say. Personally, I guess you should know my bias. I'm worried. I'm worried just because I think the trials haven't been completed for Pfizer and Moderna. We just don't know a lot about it. I'm younger. I'm in fairly good health, so that may influence my decision making. But I don't think I'm alone in that. We've definitely seen a lot of people saying that they're worried, they're nervous. Of course, you get the same old story a million times a million times again every time you flip on the TV. It's interesting to hear what doctors have to say. It's still going to be a while for any of this stuff to be completed. Literally, what would you say? Phase 2 initiation in Q2 2021. That's maybe optimistic if they don't suffer a lot from that slowdown on their vaccine. On the therapy, starting Phase 2-3 clinical trial initiated second quarter. I mean, I don't know how long this would take, maybe another year. So I would say that if you're going to get in on this, you either play the news or you get in for the long haul. If you're going to get in it for the long haul, it would have been nice to get in maybe at $8 here. $8.66 was the bottom, or $10 or something like that, rather than the almost $23 that we're at today. I don't know what to say. Of course, it's up to you how you play it, what you think is going to happen. But we do know that even in the hype, it got to $34. Okay, well, thanks so much for stopping by. I'm sure, like I said, it'll be, I believe, March 26th when Q4 earnings are due out. So until then, we'll see you next time.